The silence of space shattered as massive alien ships emerged from quantum displacement, their sleek metallic hulls gleaming against the darkness near Mars. Captain Park Ji-hee gripped the command console of the EDS Resolute, her eyes wide with a mixture of terror and determination. Warning sirens blared across the ship's communication systems. Red emergency lights pulsed, casting sharp shadows across the bridge. Crew members moved with practiced efficiency, their training kicking in despite the unprecedented situation unfolding before them. Unidentified vessels detected, the ship's AI announced in a calm, emotionless voice. Multiple contact points, estimated fleet size, 73 large-scale ships. Ji-hee knew this was no ordinary encounter. The alien ships moved with an unnatural precision, their designs unlike anything humanity had ever encountered. Sharp angular shapes cut through the vacuum, energy signatures unlike any known technology flickering around their hulls. "Open all communication channels," Ji-hee commanded, her voice steady despite the racing of her heart. "This is Captain Park, Judge of Earth Defense Force. Identify yourselves." Silence answered her. The first weapon discharge came without warning. A brilliant blue-white energy beam sliced through the nearest Earth defense satellite, turning sophisticated technology into rapidly expanding debris. Then another, and another. "Evasive maneuvers!" Ji-hee shouted, her hands flying across the tactical display. The Resolute lurched, its massive engines spinning to avoid the incoming barrage. Around them, the carefully constructed orbital defense network began to disintegrate. Years of human engineering and technological advancement disappeared in moments. Smaller Earth vessels attempted to counterattack, their weapons looking like fireflies against the massive alien ships. Lieutenant Kim Dae-sung, the ship's tactical officer, called out rapidly, "Captain, their weapon systems are targeting our primary defense clusters. We're losing communication networks. Satellite grid is 63% compromised." Ji understood immediately. This wasn't just an attack. This was a calculated dismantling of human defensive capabilities. "Send emergency transmission to Earth Command," she ordered. "Code Omega, full planetary defense protocol." The ship's communication officer, a young woman named Lee Sora, began transmitting. Her fingers moved rapidly, encoding critical information. That might be humanity's last hope of understanding the incoming threat. Outside, space transformed into a canvas of destruction. Human vessels, sophisticated yet suddenly primitive, scattered like leaves in a hurricane. The alien ships moved with a cold mathematical precision that suggested something beyond mere military strategy. Ji-hee watched a destroyer to her starboard side simply cease to exist, its entire structure dissolving under a concentrated energy burst. No explosion, no dramatic fireball, just complete instantaneous disintegration. "They're not interested in communication," Dae-sung muttered, more to himself than anyone else. The ship's internal systems began to fluctuate. Electrical systems sparked. Holographic displays flickered between tactical information and static. Something about the alien weapons was interfering with human technology at a fundamental level. "Quantum disruption detected in primary systems," the AI reported. "Defensive shields operating at 47% efficiency." Ji-hee knew their chances were slim, but humans had never been a species to surrender easily. Every moment they survived was another moment for Earth to prepare, to understand, to fight back. "Maintain position," she commanded. "We're not running, we're gathering information." Her crew looked at her, a mix of fear and respect in their eyes. They understood what she meant. If they were going to die, they would die providing humanity with crucial intelligence about the enemy. The alien ships continued their methodical destruction, moving with a precision that suggested they had planned this moment for decades. Each movement, each weapon discharge seemed calculated to maximize destruction while minimizing resource expenditure. In that moment, watching the systematic dismantling of humanity's first line of defense, Captain Park Ji-hee realized something profound. This was more than an invasion. This was a calculated elimination. The First War had begun, and humanity's peaceful times were definitively over. The underground research facility hummed with nervous energy. Computers lined every wall, their screens displaying complex data streams and shattered fragments of alien technology. Kim Seung-woo stood at the center, his lean frame hunched over a holographic projection that showed the devastating first contact. "We're not dealing with a conventional enemy," he muttered, tracing the alien ship's movement patterns with his finger. Around him, a team of scientists worked frantically. They were humanity's last hope, a group of researchers pulled from every major scientific institution on the planet. Military strategists, quantum physicists, computer engineers, and xenobiologists worked side by side, their previous specializations forgotten in the face of total extinction. A young researcher named Park Min-ji brought over a fragment of alien tech. The small piece looked like liquid metal frozen in a moment of motion, its surface shifting and changing even when completely still. "Sir," she said, "our initial scans show something impossible." Seung-woo examined the fragment. Traditional scanning methods revealed nothing. Electron microscopes showed nothing. But when they applied a specific quantum frequency, the material seemed to breathe. "They're not just using advanced technology," Seung-woo realized. "This is a completely different approach to matter itself." Outside the facility, the world was in chaos. Major cities had been partially evacuated. Military forces were scattered, their communication networks destroyed by the initial alien attack. Governments had collapsed into emergency management protocols. Every resource was now focused on one goal: survival. A massive screen on the wall showed real-time global updates. Red markers indicated destroyed cities. Blue markers showed refugee movement. Green markers represented remaining military installations. The map looked like it was bleeding. "We need a solution that breaks their understanding of warfare," Seung-woo told his team. "They expect linear thinking. We need to be completely unpredictable." Hours turned into days. The team worked in shifts, consuming endless cups of coffee and energy drinks. They developed and discarded hundreds of potential strategies. Every approach seemed futile against the alien technology that could dissolve matter with a simple energy burst. Min-ji discovered something interesting in the alien tech's molecular structure. "The material responds to specific quantum frequencies," she explained. "But it's not just responding, it's communicating." Seung-woo's eyes widened. Communication implied intelligence, and if it could communicate, it could potentially be disrupted. They began developing a weapon that wasn't a weapon in the traditional sense. It was more of a quantum communication device designed to send a specific frequency that would theoretically cause the alien technology to malfunction. "It's like sending a computer virus," Seung-woo explained, "but for an entire technological ecosystem." The military was skeptical. Traditional weapons had proven useless. Missiles dissolved before reaching their targets. Energy weapons were absorbed or redirected. Conventional understanding of combat had been completely destroyed. But the research team worked with a desperation born of absolute necessity. Each line of code, each quantum calculation, represented humanity's potential survival. Outside, the world continued to change. Cities that once held millions were now empty. Survivors had retreated to underground shelters or remote locations. Communication was limited. Information was precious. Seung-woo looked at the team. Brilliant. Minds from different backgrounds, united by a single purpose. They were no longer scientists. They were humanity's last line of defense. "We're not just developing a weapon," he told them. "We're writing humanity's response to a language we don't yet understand." The alien ships continued their methodical destruction. But in this underground facility, something was brewing. A response. A potential revolution in how humanity would fight back. One small fragment of alien technology held the key. Han Kim Seung-woo was determined to unlock it, no matter the cost. The desperate resistance had begun. The laboratory buzzed with electric anticipation. Kim Seung-woo's hands trembled slightly as he connected the final quantum circuit to their experimental device. Months of sleepless nights, countless failed attempts, and the collective desperation of humanity had led to this moment. "Activation sequence starting," he announced. The device looked nothing like a weapon. It resembled a small metallic sphere, no larger than a baseball, with intricate circuit patterns that seemed to move and breathe. Surrounding it were multiple protective energy shields and containment systems. Park Minji monitored the quantum frequency readings. Her fingers danced across holographic displays, tracking every microscopic change. The alien technology fragment they had recovered pulsed with a strange inner light, responding to their experimental frequencies. Quantum entanglement at 78% stability, she reported. Captain Park Ji watched from a reinforced observation room. She had been brought in specifically to understand the potential military applications of this breakthrough. The weight of humanity's survival seemed to rest on this single moment. The sphere began to emit a soft, almost musical humming. Invisible, waves of energy started spreading outward, creating ripples in the surrounding air that seemed to bend reality itself. "Something's happening," Xiongwu whispered. The alien technology fragment suddenly changed. Its liquid-like surface began to break apart, revealing complex internal structures that no previous scanning method had ever detected. It was as if the material was responding to their specific quantum signature. "We're communicating," Minji said, her voice a mixture of excitement and disbelief. "Not destroying, communicating." Their breakthrough wasn't about creating a weapon. It was about understanding a completely different technological language. The aliens had approached warfare as a mathematical problem. Humans were introducing an element they couldn't predict: pure, chaotic creativity. Outside the facility, the world remained in chaos. Alien ships continued their systematic destruction. But here, in this small room, something revolutionary was happening. Xiongwu adjusted a series of quantum frequency modulators. Each adjustment caused the sphere to react differently. Sometimes it would pulse with intense light. Other times it would seemingly disappear, only to reappear milliseconds later. "If we can replicate this on a larger scale," he explained to Jihe, "we might be able to create a technology that can actually interact with their systems." The military representatives watching through reinforced glass looked skeptical. Months of total defeat had crushed most hope. But something was different about this moment. The sphere suddenly projected a holographic representation of the alien ship's internal systems. Complex geometric patterns emerged, showing interconnected networks that looked more like living organisms than technological structures. "They don't use technology like we do," Minji realized. "Their ships are more like living entities." Xiongwu's hands moved rapidly, creating a translation matrix that could potentially communicate with these living technological systems. It wasn't about destruction anymore. It was about understanding. Hours passed. The team worked without rest. Each breakthrough revealed more about the alien technology. They weren't just preparing a weapon. They were learning an entirely new way of thinking about technology, communication, and existence. Captain Jihe watched with growing excitement. This wasn't just a potential military solution. This was humanity's first true step into understanding a completely alien form of intelligence. As night fell, the sphere continued its strange dance of light and quantum frequencies. The alien technology fragment responded, revealing more of its complex inner world with each passing moment. "We're close," Xiongwu said, more to himself than anyone else. "We're really close to something incredible." The fate of humanity balanced on this single moment of scientific breakthrough. A small team, working in an underground facility, might just have discovered the key to survival. The technological revolution had begun. Jupiter's orbital zone blazed with unexpected chaos. Human ships moved in patterns that defied every known rule of space combat, their systems now enhanced by Xiongwu's quantum communication technology. Captain Park Ji stood on the bridge of the EDS Resolute, her eyes locked on the tactical display. The alien fleet, once seemingly invincible, now looked confused by the unpredictable human maneuvers. "Activate quantum disruption protocols," she commanded. The first wave of modified Earth ships struck like ghosts. Where traditional weapons had failed, these new vessels seemed to bend reality itself. They would appear, strike critical alien ship systems, and vanish before the enemy could respond. Lieutenant Kim Dae-sung managed the experimental weapon systems. Each button press sent quantum frequencies that literally communicated with alien technological structures, causing them to malfunction in ways their creators never anticipated. Their defensive networks are breaking down, Dae-sung reported. His voice carried a hint of disbelief. We're actually winning. The alien ships, designed for mathematical precision, couldn't comprehend the chaotic human approach. Their rigid battle algorithms collapsed when confronted with pure, unpredictable human creativity. One alien vessel suddenly froze mid-combat, its internal systems confused by the quantum disruption. Another began turning against its own fleet, its communication networks hijacked by human technology. Ji-hee watched the transformation happening around her. Humanity wasn't just fighting back. They were rewriting the entire concept of technological warfare. Small human squadrons darted between massive alien ships. They moved like insects around giant confused animals. Each strike was precise, each retreat perfectly timed. The aliens' massive weapons became useless against such small, agile targets. We're targeting their primary communication nodes, Dae-sung announced. Quantum-enhanced missiles moved in impossible trajectories. They would disappear and reappear, changing direction mid-flight, completely destroying the aliens' targeting systems. In the research facility back on Earth, Shungwoo and his team watched the live feed. Their months of desperate work were paying off. They had transformed human technology from a linear, predictable system into something alive and adaptive. We're speaking their language now, Shungwoo whispered. The battle wasn't just about physical destruction. It was a conversation happening through technology. Humans were showing the aliens something they had never encountered, pure, unpredictable intelligence. Ji-hee's voice remained calm. Continue. Quantum communication assault. Target their central command structures. Massive alien ships began to break apart, not through explosive destruction, but through systematic technological dissolution. Their own systems were turning against them, confused by the quantum frequencies humans had learned to manipulate. Estimated enemy fleet reduction, 62%, the ship's AI reported. Refugees watching from underground shelters saw something they hadn't experienced in months: hope. Grainy video feeds showed human ships dancing around alien vessels, turning what seemed like certain extinction into a potential victory. One by one, alien ships stopped responding. Their once perfect formations dissolved into chaos. They had encountered an enemy that didn't follow any known rules of engagement. They expected us to fight like them, Ji-hee said to her crew. Instead, we fought like ourselves. The battle around Jupiter became more than a military engagement. It was humanity's declaration to the universe. They were not just another species to be conquered. They were something entirely unexpected. As the final alien ships began to retreat, a strange silence fell. The void of space, once a battlefield, now seemed to hold its breath. Dae-sung looked at Ji-hee. What do we do now? She smiled, a smile that carried the weight of humanity's survival and the promise of something greater. Now, she said, we show them who we really are. The counteroffensive had transformed from a desperate survival attempt into a cosmic statement. Humanity was no longer just defending itself, it was announcing its arrival on the galactic stage, and the universe would never be the same again. The solar system's edge glowed with tension. Humanity's modified fleet assembled like a swarm of intelligent metal insects, each ship connected through quantum communication networks that defied traditional understanding of technology. Captain Park. Ji-hee's voice cut through the communication systems. Final engagement protocol initiates now. The alien command ship loomed massive, a structure that looked more like a living organism than a technological vessel. Its surface shifted and breathed, reflecting complexity beyond human comprehension. But something was different this time. The humans were no longer afraid. Kim Seong-woo sat in the remote command center, his fingers dancing across quantum frequency modulators. Months of research had prepared them for this moment. Every calculation, every late night, every failed experiment had led here. Variant Sigma is ready, he announced. The first wave of human ships moved unlike anything in recorded military history. They didn't just fly, they communicated. Each vessel became an extension of a collective intelligence, adapting and responding faster than any computer could process. Alien weapon systems tried to target the human ships, but these weren't normal targets. They would shimmer, disappear, and reappear in completely unexpected locations. Traditional targeting became impossible. Their defensive networks are collapsing, Lieutenant Kim Dae-sung reported, watching multiple holographic displays. The alien command ship began to show signs of internal confusion. Its massive energy systems started responding erratically as if the quantum communication was literally speaking a language it couldn't understand. Ji-hee understood something profound in that moment. This wasn't just a battle. This was a conversation happening through technology, through movement, through pure adaptive intelligence. Target their primary communication nodes, she commanded. Quantum-enhanced missiles moved in trajectories that seemed to break physical laws. They would disappear and reappear, changing direction mid-flight, causing the alien systems to become increasingly unstable. The alien fleet, once considered invincible, started to disintegrate. Not through explosive destruction, but through systematic, technological dissolution. Their own systems became confused, turning against their original programming. Seung-woo watched the live feed, his breath caught in his throat. Their months of desperate research had transformed human technology from a predictable system into something alive and adaptive. "We're not just fighting," he whispered. "We're communicating." Underground shelters around Earth watched grainy video, feeds. Refugees who had lost everything saw something unexpected: hope. Human ships moved like intelligent dancers, turning what seemed like certain extinction into a potential victory. The battle became more than a military engagement. It was humanity's declaration to the universe. They were not just another species to be conquered. They were something entirely unexpected. One by one, alien ships stopped responding. Their perfect formations dissolved into chaos. They had encountered an enemy that didn't follow any known rules of engagement. "They expected us to fight like machines," Ji-hee told her crew. "Instead, we fought like humans." The alien command ship, the massive central structure that had seemed invincible, suddenly began to break apart. Not through violent explosion, but through a complex technological surrender. Its systems were literally being rewritten by human quantum frequencies. Dae-sung looked at the displays in disbelief. Enemy fleet, 99% non-functional. A strange silence fell across the solar system's edge. The void of space, once a battlefield, now seemed to hold its breath. Humanity had done something unprecedented. They had not just survived. They had transformed the very concept of technological warfare. Ji-hee's final command was simple: confirm total system neutralization. As the last alien systems went dark, something else emerged. A message, not in human language, not in alien language, but in a new communication form that suggested something greater was possible. The universe had just witnessed humanity's true potential, and everything would change from this moment forward.